Hello everyone, Mouse is back in the house. I never got a chance to show off all the airplanes I got from that large estate sale, which I did, I don't know, 5 or 6 parts to. So I have been selling them though, so I was just going to scroll through and show you what some of them are selling for. These are all very large, semi-pre-built airplanes. They're considered a toy, but they're more of a collector's item. You have to assemble the wings, the tail, the armament, stuff like that when it comes, but for the most part it's already put together and everything. The estate sale I got it from, the guy liked to chop them up and make different airplanes out of them, different versions, just a whole new airplane in general, his own little creations. So majority of the ones I got have been altered, changed, damaged, missing parts, wrong parts on them, things like that. So that will affect the prices you're seeing. They are all 1/18 scale, which makes them quite large. The jet airplanes, like the ones as tall as my daughter, the F-14, that was the largest one I bought. Even the F-18s, F-16s, they're over 2 feet long. Even the, so you kind of get the idea. So I'll scroll through them so you can see what they're selling for. Like I said, there's a lot of extra pieces too. When I bought a whole bunch of different groups from the estate sale, I had extra pieces. So as you can see, there's a bunch of extra stuff with this MiG-15, but it also was in poor condition. The plane itself that was nearly whole was chopped up pretty good. He was converting this one into a fire bomber. The F-18 here, buyer ended up not paying for it. I had to resell it. All these I did in auction too. And the only problem I have with relisting auctions is every time, and I'll show you as I get up there if you stay towards the end, some more that didn't get paid for. They always do worse the second time around. It's almost like a house that's been on the market too long, or somebody put a contract on a house, but then it can't, it fell through. People just look at it different, like there's something wrong with it, even though there might not be anything wrong with it. I don't know, but every time I've ever had a relist an auction because a buyer didn't pay, it hurt me big time. Like I said, also got a lot of parts, so selling the parts separately when they didn't match up to an airplane that I did have. And I did quite well with the parts. And some of these are just models and other stuff that I already had listed that sold in between the auctions. I also had some built model kits, 1/32 scale B-25 there that he was converting to a fire bomber as well. So those were actually model kits that were completely assembled, glued together, and painted. And now we're back into the pre-built stuff. The helicopter is actually in decent shape, and I had everything for it, except for the propeller blades. And they're actually quite expensive, which is why that one sold fairly low. Some more model kits. This is a pre-built 1/32 scale, though, cutaway of a F-14. It did really well. It's actually fairly rare. The problem with this one is all the panels that are removable, like it's supposed to be all together and look like a normal plane. Then you can remove panels to see the cutaway part. Everything that was removable was missing. Really nice built 1/48 scale Rockwell B-1B bomber. Problem with that one, it was so expensive to ship. The prices for shipping are as if I were to ship to my own house. So just to ship to me myself would cost $35. And here's that F-18 that I had a relist. Like I said, the original price sold for $305. So I lost about $125 having to re-auction it. A couple other nice planes. That helicopter was actually really nice. Nothing really damaged or wrong with it. He did add extra parts to it to change it to something it wasn't. Was only problem with that, but it actually looked real nice. No damage to it. Some more parts. So these are the other ones I ended up having to relist. The guy drugged me along for a couple weeks. The two C-130s and the B-36 Peacemaker with the airliner. He ended up buying both those lots. Spent the time packing them all together. He had bought stuff from me before, so he said he would pay. So, since he had bought something, I think it was like 2 weeks prior, he had bought some models, or a model. So I took it on good faith, that he had already been there once and paid. So I held on to him for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then he just stopped staying in contact with me, so I had to relist him. And you add those together, a little over $200. So I'll have to show you when we get up higher what they actually sold for. That Zero actually was a really rare plane, and there was I don't think there's anything wrong with that particular one. That's why that one did so well. Some more parts. And as you can see, they're selling decently. I mean, I'm making a good amount of money on some of these part slots that I ended up with. Canopies and things like that. Back into the next group of auctions. F-16 I thought would do a little bit better. It did have some issues, but it wasn't anything major. The guy did change some things. It was missing a lot of the weaponry. He altered the way the things would attach to it. So it would be hard to buy a factory one. You'd have to makeshift one to fit it. But somebody still got a heck of a deal on that one, in my opinion. I auctioned off some Halloween stuff. Back into the planes. Now these all were fairly nice. The Stuka, the ME-262 jet fighter. Both of those were basically untouched and in really good condition. The only problem with the other problem I had with a lot of these is when the guy assembled them, even though they snapped together, he glued everything. So I was not able to take them apart to ship them without damaging them. So the shipping on a lot of them were fairly high, as you got farther away from where I live on the East Coast. I was quite disappointed in this Ju-52. Super nice airplane. It's a plastic model with an aluminum covering over it. And they're quite expensive. They sell for $600 to $800. That one had the guy changed the propellers on it. The landing gear was missing, and one section of the tail was missing. I still thought it would do better than $7, but again, extremely large airplane. He glued the wings and stuff on, so shipping on it was expensive. The guy ended up buying it, was real happy to get it. I think he was in California. It was $82 to ship it to him, so he did pay a decent amount for the airplane. Unfortunately, it was a lot in shipping. The F-18 was the best one I had. Almost nothing wrong with it. As you saw, it sold for $555. Some parts were glued together on this, which was the only concern again. And I think didn't have all the weaponry because he changed some of it, but it had a good bit of it, and most of it was correct. If not, that would have been closer to $800 airplane in good condition. Now, if you can get them in real nice condition with a box, basically untouched or, like new with box, they can go, much higher than that even. Dauntless I thought was going to do a little bit better. There wasn't really anything wrong with that. It should have been, closer to 300, but we were close. Like I said, we're doing an auction, so, it can go either way. It could have gone for $400. It could have gone for $150. So, again, some more parts, and as you can see, the parts add up. All these $15, $20, $10 items. Some pilots. So here are those two groups of planes the guy bought before. I don't know if you remember, I said it was a little over $200 they both sold for. I ended up with a little over $60 reselling them. It was about $150 difference. And unfortunately, the first time they sold, they actually did a lot better than I thought they would, which always worries me as well, because there's always a chance that somebody won't pay when I think it's going for way too high, but you can't stop them from bidding, saying, hey, no, you're bidding too much, But I thought they would do better. The Peacemaker and the Boeing 707, I would have felt comfortable for it selling around $50. I think it would have been a fair price for it. Like I said, the first time it sold for $70, this time sold for $50 less at $21, and I actually think I had about that into them, so I'm going to be unpacking the ones already packed since they're packed for the other guy already, and having to repack them all for free. Then the biggest hit was the C-130s here. Originally sold for $166, which I thought was high. Around $100 would have been fair, but still we were half that again. So somebody definitely got a super good deal on those. They're worth about $100, over $100 a piece. I've bought some of them in the past. You might have seen them in some of my other videos if you watched them. The unbuilt model kits sell for about $125, and they range anywhere from $90 to $150 on normal, but I usually sell them for about $125. So somebody getting two of them for $45 it's a good deal. Really nice F-16. Basically there, untouched. Everything looks real good on that. Again, glued together, an issue. And I think some of the weapons were changed, but it had all the pylons filled. So it did have all the weaponry, it just wasn't the correct weaponry that came with the plane. So normally I would have asked about $600 for it if it was in perfect shape. So $435 is about where I thought it would have gone. This was a huge one. It's as tall as my daughter. F-14 Tomcat, and my daughter's 6. It's missing the nose. Some of the landing gear was broken. Tails are missing. Doesn't have any of the weapons. But this is a $1,200 model. And there are people out there that like to alter these things like the guy that I bought them from was doing. They also like to use them to make aircraft that don't exist yet. Like somebody might take this F-14 and change it to Su-34 flanker Russian aircraft because they're similar size, twin engine, things like that. This was a parts lot. Real nice plane. Unfortunately, I was missing the wings and had some other issues too. Spirit of St. Louis, that was a nice little airplane. A little bit of damage to the tail, but I think somebody that's skilled easily could fix that. And the propellers were missing. So I think somebody got a decent deal on that. I did too, because I only paid $1 for that one. But I still think it was worth more than what they paid. And again, more parts kits. And that's it. I do have the company that made these models, the Spirit of the St. Louis, the DC-3, and the JU-52 I mentioned earlier with aluminum skin. I do have 3 other planes, 1/16th scale, Spitfire, and 2 Mustangs. And I think I'm going to put them on buy it now because unlike the plastic versions of the Elite Fours and Ultimate Soldier ones that did really well in auction because there's a lot of people looking for them, I just don't think there's enough people actively looking and bidding on this type of aircraft. So I'll put it on buy it now at a reasonable price. Then the person that's looking for it, that wants it, will buy it. I also have 2 bi-wing airplanes, a SPAD and I'm trying to remember what the other one is. A Sopwith, maybe. Also very large scale. I haven't quite figured out the scale. 1/12 maybe, 1/10, somewhere around there. They're quite big. But again, they'll probably put those on for buy now because they're actually in really good condition. And rather than chancing in the auction, seeing that the other ones, that style, just weren't getting the attention that I was hoping they would. But I've never tried to sell those before, so I might do a short video on those before I sell them too. I am running out of content again. I'm house sitting for somebody next weekend. So I'm not sure if I'll have any new stuff, because I don't have any new stuff for you this week either. So, but I appreciate anybody that sat through this whole entire thing, listening to me ramble again. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.